So earlier this week, Kirby Smart and the rest of the SEC coaches were down in Destin, Florida for the SEC spring meetings. And Kirby had a lot to say talking about the transfer portal, NIL, recruiting, all that type of stuff. And you can go read all about that on Dawg Post. But he did have some interesting things to say. Someone was asked, in this climate of NIL and the transfer portal, how do you keep your team intact? How do you keep guys on board? How do you know where to go to fill whatever gaps that you need on your team? And he said it's tough, talking about keeping the team intact. He said we spend a lot of time on connection and having conversations. Where are you? Are you happy with where you are here? If not, what can we do to improve that and improve you as a player? Do you think you're being developed? And he talks about, Quay Walker, who was a 5-star from Crisp County. He's the one who threw the Tennessee hat all across the room when making his decision to sign with Georgia. And, Quay Walker didn't play a ton his first 2 years and into his third season. And he was thinking about transferring. And Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann said, hey, man, we recruited you for a reason. We know the type of talent that you have, and we can turn you into an NFL player. You just have to be patient. You are being developed. Sometimes you have to wait your turn, especially when you're playing behind other 5-stars who are just simply ahead of you for whatever different reason, right? And obviously we know what worked out, and Quay Walker did stay at Georgia, had a fantastic final season, ended up being a first-round pick to the Green Bay Packers, had somewhat of a rough rookie season, but he does have a very bright future in Green Bay, and that's the example that he gives to a lot of these kids. And he said most kids are ready to leave if they're not starting by then. And with Georgia, you're gonna have guys leave. You have to make room. It's a numbers game, right? So he knew going into the offseason that he had, some guys had to leave. And at Georgia, it doesn't really affect Kirby Smart that much as far as getting hurt by the transfer portal, because they only really lost one guy that could have made an impact for them last year, and that was A.D. Mitchell, who left to Texas. And he's got family out there. There were a number of different reasons. It's not like he did not like the culture at Georgia or thought he wasn't playing enough or getting the ball. I mean, the guy scored a touchdown in every college football playoff game the last 2 seasons, so he was being used, and that is going to hurt. But losing Bear Alexander to the transfer portal was a good thing. From everything I gathered, they were trying to push him out of the program. He was not helping Georgia in 2023. As healthy as Don Blaylock was, he was not helping the team. Rylan Goody, Brett Seether, those guys kind of had to go. Jacob Hood, Jaheim Singletary, on and on and on. Even guys like Tresman Marshall, Eric Gilbert. At Georgia, if you're not playing, it's, you are being developed. They might not know it at the time. They might be frustrated with their playing time, but at the end of the day, you have to play, right? If you want to play at the next level, you have to play. So guys have to leave, and it's a good thing as well. So, and he's talking from a broader standpoint as far as coaches go. There really is no offseason. It is a 12-month job, whether you're recruiting or trying to make your, the guys on your roster happy, looking in the transfer portal, trying to bring guys in, making sure everyone is happy with NIL, making sure they're getting those opportunities. And at Georgia, everyone is able to. They're not going to put guys on a payroll like some other programs are that I'm hearing about, but if you go to Georgia, the opportunities are going to be there. So he just said it takes a lot more energy right now in terms of spending time recruiting your own roster and trying to maintain it. It's not just the portal we're dealing with. He said it's the combination of the portal, NIL, and everything that's going on that makes it sometimes excruciating. And that's the word that stands out to me, because everyone needs a vacation, right? But these college coaches don't really get one. There's so much going on, and the grind of the regular season is one thing, but in the off season, when you do have to try to get your players to come back that you need, and that's what they do a good job of. Brock Vandegrift could have left. I mean, he's been in the program for a few years now. Dylan Fairchild, Micah Morris, guys on the offensive line that I believe would be playing at most other SEC programs. Those are the guys he's talking about, where it's re-recruiting them, trying to get them to stay on board, follow the path, and continue to kind of wait their turn, because good things are right around the corner for them. So the guys like MJ Sherman, it just wasn't working out. And I do think he got better as his career at Georgia went along. Same with Tresman Marshall and Ryan Davis, but they were hurt by injuries and had some younger guys kind of pass them on the depth chart. So they had to leave. But again, you can only have so many players on the team. And when you're bringing in, 25 to 30, players in a recruiting class, with most of them coming in December and January as early enrollees, you got to make room for them. So guys have to go. Some guys leave for the NFL early, and that helps. But at the end of the day, you need some of these players to go through the portal and leave to make room for other guys. And it's, from what I've been told, NIL is kind of frustrating the coaches on the recruiting trail. There's one assistant coach at Georgia right now who says a lot of his targets right now are looking at NIL. It's a big deal. That was actually another coach at another program, but it's a big deal more and more with these kids now. It's not about development or playing time. Those factors are important, but you have to remember where they come from, their background. A lot of their family members are saying, hey, you need to go and play and get developed and hopefully play in the league, but it's good to make some money here too. So that's what Georgia has to pitch some of these family members. So it's a lot easier to show them the rings and say, hey, we can develop you. Look at the board, look how many guys that are coming out of here playing in the NFL. But you have to show them the NIL package as well and what these guys can do and the opportunities that, present to them. So there's a lot going on, and he spoke about that at length a good bit, but it's tough being a coach. These guys are getting paid a lot of money, and at Georgia, they work harder as anyone else, especially on the recruiting trail. If you want to, coach and, be hired by Kirby Smart to work for him, there's no downtime, and you have to make these kids happy when they're in high school, and you have to keep them happy when they're on campus and get them that playing time, or else they're going to leave. And again, only one guy left that would have helped this team next year, and it was A.D. Mitchell. But for other programs, they are losing starters left and right for a number of different reasons, whether it's playing time or NIL opportunities. They don't feel like they're being developed. Those things are easier at Georgia because these guys are getting developed. They're pushing out guys in the league to the league more than any other program right now. So they check the development box and the NFL box. They check the championship box, and it's easier for them. But even for a guy like Kirby Smart, who throws the word excruciating out there, it just shows you, how hard it is to maintain a championship level, program and keep guys on board after you just won a championship. You still have to tell, the players on the roster, hey, we could do this again, but we need your help. We know you might be able to play somewhere else. You might be able to make a little bit more money somewhere else, but, this is, we're doing it right. We're winning championships, and he has to reinforce that to a lot of his players. And he's done a great job of keeping the guys that are going to help them. But, they've had a lot of guys hit the portal, and most of them were not going to help this team next year. So it's easier for a guy like Kirby Smart and this staff from that perspective because they do a good job with it. But it just shows you the amount of stress that these college coaches are consistently under. And, it was nice to see some honesty from Kirby Smart during these SEC meetings. But a lot going on, plenty of recruiting news coming. Another massive weekend right now. As you're watching this video, there are plenty of 5-stars on campus. Georgia's hopefully going to get some good news this week. They hope to get some good news from some of these uncommitted 5-stars, especially on the defensive side of the football. I'm going to have more on that next week. But still plenty of content over there on Dawg Post. Make sure you check out Double Dogs. Great gift for your father. No one needs a new cup. No one needs a new tie. Get them Double Dogs. There's pictures in there that you're not going to find anywhere else in the world because we took them ourselves. So make sure you get Double Dogs, and the magazine that we have coming out too. It's brilliant, probably the best magazine in the world. So make sure you go check that out. Great Father's Day gift. So sign up to the newsletter today. Grab the book today before we're sold out, and I will see you over on the website.